Hello, my name is Mordred Viking, and I'd like to welcome you to this stream of Hearts of Iron 4, where we are playing Kaiserreich as the Netherlands. And as you may remember from the previous game, the Second World War is over. We are at peace with everyone. Peace has been restored to the world, and everyone is happy. Well, not quite so much. So, my plan here is to allow time to progress by between a month and 6 months. I haven't quite decided precisely how much. And then I'm going to work a little bit of console magic and see what I can do about... My face is absolutely huge at the moment, isn't it? Should probably reduce that slightly. Like, I'm... Let me just rewind a little bit. I've got a new camera. So we finally hit the $300 reward goal on Patreon, which is awesome. So thank you, everyone, for your support on that. And it's allowed me to finally upgrade my camera, which I've done. It's what this bad boy is, which actually, the autofocus works. I've not had to reset anything. But the size is very different from the old one. So I am still messing around with that. And I think I do want to make it a little bit wider. I think I was a little bit over-aggressive with the cropping. Let's go knock this down a bit. Otherwise it just looks weird. Like the scale's just off completely. Add a little bit more on that side. Need to try and judge it. Bit more. Bit less. That'll do. And then anything off the top? I think the top's fine. And then we can put you back there. There we go. That's a slightly better size now, I think. And I do need to fiddle around with the chroma key a little bit as well, which is the green screen fading. I've just left that on default settings, which actually, for a default, is pretty decent, but it is definitely having a couple of problems still. And the general clipping around the edge is a hell of a lot better. So it's a pretty big upgrade. But I'm going to be fiddling with how it all works for a while, I suspect. Will there ever be a Hawaii game or a Ukraine game? Almost certainly never a Hawaii. It's too small to really do anything. In fact, I don't think I've seen a single Hawaiian division ever. Ukraine, possibly. Ukraine would be a lot more interesting. What camera is it? It's a Logitech C290 Pro? I think that's what it was called. I wrote it yesterday. Hang on, let me check my Discord announcements. I put it in there. When it comes to hardware, I am absolutely rubbish. Yeah, C920 Pro, Logitech. And it was good. Anyway, back to the story of what is happening in the game. Germany... Well, Germany's actually kind of chill with us, but we're pissed off with Germany because they kept on insulting us during the Second World War. Britain is pissed off with us because we took Britain, so that's going to mean a war with the Entente. It's also going to mean a war, probably, with Germany. So I think what I'm going to do, like, just straight away, is I'm going to tag over to Canada. No, I'm not. I'm going to tag over back to Holland. Because what I need to do is allow Diplo, because I'm quitting the Reichspakt. I've had enough. You have insulted me for the last time. Done. And then I'm going to tag to a couple of other Reichspakt nations, like Ireland, because I don't think they would want to stay in either. And who else? Let's go over to Germany and see who is in the alliance right now. Cuba. Cuba has no real reason to stay in. Well, actually, Cuba joined of their own volition. Morocco is a puppet. Azerbaijan's a puppet. I mean, there's going to be a lot of puppets. The puppets are not allowed to leave. German Southeast Asia, right, Ruthenia, Ukraine, Georgia, Don-Cuban Union, Wallonia definitely would stay. Baltic Duchy, Sweden. I don't think that Sweden would. Huzzah! So let's tag over to Sweden and get the Swedes to leave. The whole alliance is just falling apart. It was a great war. We had a fun time. Finland, I think, would also leave. Like, all of these nations have done pretty well on their own. Thank you very much. Oh, Finland was never in the first place. Interesting. Alright, who else? Wallonia, Baltics, Lithuania. Denmark would probably leave. Bulgaria would leave. Okay, so Denmark and Bulgaria, I think those will be the last ones. So tag over to Denmark. Leave. And then tag Bulgaria, who are also going to leave. Alright, so the Reichspakt is now basically just the Reichspakt. And who else? Is the Entente still at war? The Entente's still at war, so we're not going to mess around with them at all. The only other one that might leave would be Cuba. Do we think that Cuba would leave the Reichspakt? I think that Cuba would probably leave the Reichspakt. Let's have them leave as well. And then they can click on Germany. And then leave faction. Gone. Done. Had enough. The end. Have I ever done a Polish Midzorje campaign? I've done a Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth game, which was alright. But again, they're a bit small to really do much. Duke Silverose, thank you very much for the resubscription. 17 months of loyal service, my glorious Jarl. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate it. Dukes can still be vassals. Although Jarl is the Norse version of Earl, I'm fairly sure that an Earl is a lower rank than a Duke. Yeah, because aren't Earls the British form of counts? That's the thing I never realised, is despite the fact that Britain is split up into counties, there are actually no counts. Because Duke is a Latin title. Dux. Or is it Greek? I think it's Latin. Anyway, so how do we want things to progress from here? My thinking is that the Entente's going to declare war on us pretty much immediately because they are pissed about the personal union. Or they see us as the legitimate authority and allow us to join the Entente. And that could also be interesting if we wanted to see the Entente versus Germany. Oh, that could be really interesting, actually. If I take over the Entente. Because I'm still a legitimate monarchy. Queen Wilhelmina would basically become the new ruler of the British Empire. I kind of like this idea. This is a cool idea. The Entente versus Germany seems fun. I mean, that was always the intention for World War III. Like, Kaiserreich had it inbuilt towards the end of the Entente focus tree that they would then go to war with Germany. Unfortunately, they've removed all of that. I was checking it the other day. So France has got returned to Marseille. France is going to be pissed with Germany because Germany just outright occupied France. We're pissed with Germany because they gave so much land to Wallonia, which clearly should have been ours, plus also Wallonia. And also they kept us out of the Wilhelm thing, science thing. And also they basically tried to force vassalize us, and they just didn't believe in us. So tensions between us and Germany, very high. Japan, I would say, is sitting on the sidelines to see who comes out ahead of this war, because if they see Germany weakening enough, then they might try to reinvade Qing. I'm just noticing that Qing is not in any way allied to Germany. The other thing is, if they see us starting to lose, then they'd probably go after Indonesia. So I think Japan I'm going to have sitting on the sidelines. And if something happens... So what's going to be the trigger for Japan joining the war? Because I think that Japan still has very much the potential to do some decisive actions. Although their army is pathetic, their navy is good, and they're still pretty heavily industrialized, and they have a lot of manpower still. Huzzah! Kagaruki, thank you very much for the subscription. Welcome to the Mordlings. Good to see you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Looks like Earl is the equivalent for Count in the UK. Yeah, which is something I just didn't realise. An Earl is an Anglo-Saxon origin, or Norse. Form of Jarl meant chieftain, particularly as chieftain set to rule a territory in the king's stead. In Scandinavia it became obsolete in the Middle Ages and was replaced by Duke, or Hetoch. In later medieval Britain it became the equivalent of a continental count. In England, the earlier period, it was more akin to a duke. Yeah, hence Britain is split into the counties. Or duchies. Like Lancaster and York are both duchies. As I guess is, like, Cambridge now. Cornwall, I think's one. Kent. So maybe the counties are actually duchies rather than counties. That's probably how it actually works. Because they're all ruled, technically, by dukes. Okay, so I'm going to give ourselves a little bit of time. No, actually, I'm going to have us join the Entente. I like this alternate history idea where we are now basically the King of Britain. Accept. And then tag Holland again. Because I'm taking over the faction. It's mine. Take over faction. Send. And then allow Diplo will be switched off again. Alright, so let's save this. Entente. British politics were deliberately set up to be confusing. They thrive on chaos and continues this tradition to this day. I mean, you're not wrong. You're definitely not wrong about that. I just realised that my notifications aren't up properly. There we are. That's better. Okay, that background is going to annoy me now. I keep looking over at the camera. I'm just like, yeah. The chroma key is very, very obvious. Let's see if I can just fix that real quick. The real problem with the chroma key is in the... again, that's blanking out the background, so I've got a green screen up. The problem with that is the screen where you're like tweaking the settings is a grey background, which is the least helpful colour background. Because all the static is, of course, grey. Which camera was it again? It's that one. Filters, chroma key... I want to get rid of that colour. There we are. That's better already. Just magic. It's kind of interesting learning about how green screens and stuff like that work. There's a lot more settings than you would expect. It's not just something you just turn on or off. I amend my previous statement to loyalty to my glorious king. Oh, queen. It's Wilhelmina. A lot were new creations, but they were created by Charles II, who saw himself as a regular continental king as a Francophile. Aha, that would make a lot of sense. Right, let's go and sort out the tea supplies, because one cannot be the King of England without having tea supplies. Sorry, Queen of England. I just had a sudden vision of Queen Wilhelmina from Civilization 6 twirling an umbrella in one hand and a teacup in the other. I still have never played as Wilhelmina in Civ 6. I need to try that one of these days. What was the last game I did? Oh yeah, Mali. There we are. Sorted. Alright, let's do this. And we probably also want to be sending some support to the Pacific States, seeing as the Pacific States are the most likely to join the Entente now. And we see them as the legitimate force in the country, although they are absolutely kicking ass right now. They have so many factories. Good grief. CSA has a lot of shipyards. Bloody hell. They probably have more shipyards than they have military factories. That's dedication. I'm wondering if you actually need guns. I'm not convinced that you do. Because I do have a couple spare, which I can send out. Anyway, before war with Germany, what we need to do is reorganize our armies. I just realized there's no Heart of Iron sound, is there? Now there is.
Ja, commandant.
Oops, that's not what I meant. We want to do something like that, although I think we'll probably go a little straighter out, like so. Then the Marines. We could use the Marines to try and hold on to our French holdings, but I think that's going to be a little bit of a lost fight. So I think you're going to go against the Wallonian front instead. Oh, you know what? We have 30 units here that we can use. Yes, they are militia. But do I need to fortify Britain still? Not as much as I have been. Let's see what they require to do this. $34. You've got 30. Yeah, I guess you have to stay in Britain. Curses. I am building more troops, which I can set to deploy right now. And then they are going to be in a new army under you. Then your job is just to hold on to France. And you'll need a commander. Porton. Porton. Sweden immediately rejoins the Reichspakt. Trade with German Empire was terminated due to the low trade influence. Really? I mean, that was fairly inevitable. I'm just surprised it happened so soon. No longer wish to trade with you either. So, let's see. Japan, we could certainly trade with. Australasia, being our new buddy. We don't need to be buying in aluminium anymore, thanks to our new French holdings. 2 Sicilies, I'll gladly buy... Oh no, that's aluminium. Haha, steel. I would like some steel from the Mongols. Although holding that trade route open is going to be a challenge. India, we can certainly trade with. South Africa. And then Sardinia. Bingo. Okay, so we've got that. Now it really is just manpower that we're going to need. So I think we will need to be changing our manpower law, because we're not due to be getting very much more in. Although we currently have 0 political power, thanks to the having taken over the Entente. We haven't actually been invited into the war yet. I felt very under attack in the last Civ game as a South African living in New Zealand, seeing that the first Civs you wiped out were the Zulus, followed by the Maori. I'm sorry, but didn't the Zulus start that one? I think I did attack... No, yeah. The Maori... The Zulus declared war on me, and weren't they supported by the Maori or something like that? Does that mean he plans to join the Entente now? I am the Entente. Yeah, I've taken over the Entente. Because the personal union between the Netherlands and Britain have been restored, which means that technically I'm in charge of Canada now. The Netherlands owns the British Empire. We're just going to allow Prince Edward to continue ruling as an autonomous ruler for the time being. You know, until a better status quo can be established within the realm at large. But we are assuming direct control of Britain. Fighting against Germany with 0 manpower is going to be an interesting challenge. Oh, I could have joined the Entente anyway. Ha! Forgot about that. And now I can join the ISAC. Am I currently doing a focus? Yeah, we've got the bomber going. After that we can do the ISAC. The other thing is I really need to do something to defend Indonesia. So like I said, there are going to be a couple of months. So it's currently July. Because I think everyone would have a little bit of rejigging time. You want me to join your wars. The Treaty of Bordeaux. What? What? I did not agree to this. After negotiations between the victorious nations of the Reichspakt and the government of the nationalist France, an agreement over the future of France has been reached. The Treaty of Bordeaux will see the return of the southern France to its rightful government, while the German Empire and its allies retain control of northern France. Well, this is another insult, Germany. But at least this gives the French Republic an entry point into the war already. You know what? I was going to send Kingdom of Spain guns. Do you have manpower? You have no manpower, therefore you don't need guns. And we have loads of civilian factories. And no resistance in Britain anymore, which is awesome. Good grief, Britain is very buildable. Interesting. This does, however, beg the question, what do I need? I think I would like to have a bigger airfield in the Netherlands. Let's put it in Limburg, actually. Being right on the frontier. Then I think just more military factories, quite honestly. Because I'm fairly confident about how the Navy will perform. Let's just take a quick look at that. Germany has a lot of ships, though. It's going to be an interesting naval war against them. Does Wrangel lead Russia? No. Russia is somewhat reduced under Savinkov. Russia has not done well. How many forts do we have? Not many. Just the ones that we started with. These all look to be level 1s. Oh no, the border ones are level 3s. Well, that one was. I mean, we are pretty well fortified. As in, we have forts everywhere. Return the Canadian lands. No. Not happening. They should return the Canadian lands to me.
Great.
Why are you going to... Oh, right. I don't actually need to defend Normandy anymore. So what I should actually do is have you guys defending the Wallonian border. And then we can use the Marines for something else. More Marini. Let's have you guys going from Dover to here. Except for these two who are going to be joining that army. And then you need to have a different colour. Purple. Although they're also purple. Well, this is a garrison army, so they should not be purple. They should be orange. Hirohito is still in charge. I was wondering if he would have been kicked out, seeing as they just lost badly. Anyway, I'm being invited into wars. Who are you actually still at war with? Indo-Chinese Union, which we could definitely do a taking out. Brazil and the Hellenic Socialist Republic. Venezuela, Ecuador, Colombia. Wait, are these just war goals? Nope, these are actually wars. So the Indo-Chinese Union is on their own in one of those. So what I'm thinking is we should probably send, well, I kind of want the submarines over here. Because it rather looks like India is kicking the living daylights out of the Indo-Chinese Union right now, which is good to see. We could also send the Marines over here. You know what? I think that's probably the best move. Let's have the Marines preparing for a naval invasion of Kuala Lumpur. With the ultimate intention of taking Singapore. Just seeing if anyone is ready for a promotion. Not look like it. Not yet. How close? 62. Nope. Just looked at you. And then Mr. Defensive. Nothing. And then the other thing is the navies. Let's have you return home. Let's have you return home. Where are you active? You're active down here. Interesting. Interesting. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the cruisers to this fleet instead. And turn that into just a destroyer fleet. And then we have a couple of submarines who would also be able to join. I'm guessing... Why are you not set up to 5? You should be. Those are all fine. And then, basically, you guys can return to port and get your repairs and stuff done. And there's the new bomber. But now I would very much like to join the ISAC. The Imperial Scientific and Academic Council is a leading institution in Canada and the Entente. By joining it, we'll be able to benefit from its world-renowned research capabilities. Excellent.